Okay, let's get you set up over here. You and you. Perfect. Okay. Let's actually go to audio and the only problem is, of course, I have no idea. I don't. Yeah, it doesn't look like XSplit's even gonna pick that up. Hmm. Okay, should be fine. Yes, audio is on. Yes, those are video game controls.
Hi there. Thank you very much for playing The Beginner's Guide. My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote The Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of
Sweet.
events
Hey,
that
Matt Alex.
happened between 2008 and 2011. We're going to look at the games made by a friend of
Yeah,
mine named
I'm noticing
Coda.
that, Matt Alex.
Now these games mean a lot to me.
Oh, okay, I can just do it whenever the fuck I want. Hmm. Why is it under... That's fine. That's clearly a visual aspect.
I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff.
I'm at like 300
and his work
FPS, by the
pointed
way.
me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative
Maybe it'll
works that
trigger
I wanted
after
to make.
this cutscene.
So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way.
Oh god. Hold on. Let's do this. Restart the level.
And mostly it's just, hi there. Thank you very much for playing
perfect.
The Beginner's Guide. My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote The Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011. We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda. Now these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment.
Whoa.
But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level.
Creepy.
And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town.
I'm like
instead, this level
3
becomes
feet
a
tall.
kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this?
Alright.
This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator.
Matt, we're going on a journey.
Themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is.
Alright.
And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So, it's 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever. And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point, he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, you know, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day, he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me.
I like how he just puts his email in there.
WREDEN@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game. As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made.
By the way,
November
this is almost all. I think it might just be all, but in the Source engine, and I'm currently running it like 300 FPS. Okay. I got a gun. Alright. Whisper machine is active. That ain't great.
This game is called Escape
What?
from Whisper, and it's one of the more generic games you'll see.
Okay, so
from Coda.
E fires the weapon. Yeah, control to crouch. Damn right. We'll get there, Matt. I'd say shortly after this level, it starts to be more clear why this is interesting to me. Okay.
Security hull breached. Hostile alien
Alright.
force inbound.
Hey, door.
It kind of looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters
C?
or enemies.
The fuck are you talking about?
And clearly
C?
There are no enemies anywhere.
C is
You can't
bullshit.
even reload the gun when you
Control.
run out of bullets.
Wow, I'm like
But
prone.
ultimately, we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are.
I'm out of
rather
bullets,
than
by the way.
not.
Enemy force neutralized. Begin ship evacuation.
I love how you can see the bottom of the universe from this room.
Yeah. Yeah, look at that. To be fair, though, this space JPEG is actually pretty good. And unfortunately, it looks the coolest right around the edges. Oh, yeah, well, I don't, Matt, so shush. So if I remember, just
Apparently, this space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern.
Shit.
So in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it.
yeah.
Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the Whisper machine and how it has to
Hey,
be turned
Mermeow.
off, and then you get to the engine room.
Alright. Hey, engine room. That's a decent effect.
In the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the Whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam. It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
You know, I gotta say, for a game that he never actually, like, took off his computer, that's a decent little voice actor. Yeah, I'm not about. Oh, you guys sealed me in. Oh, okay, cool.
Let me pause here for a second.
Well,
What you just experienced,
death.
stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
I have no idea, Matt. That's why I'm saying whoever it was, though, which, I mean, it had to have just been like a friend of his, was pretty decent. Could you not? Hey! There we go, so
The beam
I
causes you to start floating.
should have gone all
And
the
this is
way
an important moment.
down.
Because yes, this is technically a
Oh,
glitch.
fuck this
but
labyrinth.
Coda identifies something human about it. Like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
Alright, you're the boss, narrator. So, I've seen up to a certain point in this, and I will point out where that is when we get there. So for example, I know in this one, you'll notice I'm trying to walk forward. You might hear me jamming on my W key, and it's not working.
Yep, in this game you can only walk backwards.
Because the past was behind her. Nope, nothing. Okay, we'll check this next area. Okay.
So it's a short and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative. It is less advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused, more complete. Code is trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
Go this way. She stops and looks, becomes clearer. Nothing over there. We'll go this way. Hey, there's a door. Was that there a second ago? Future is always behind her. Still a door. How will she find the strength? Still a door. You motherfuckers. Where's my
It's a
door?
short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then
Whoa.
it ends. Didn't need anything more than that. Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick. Okay, next one.
Nope. Nope. It's a decent little darkness effect. You are now entering. Doop doop doop.
And that's it.
Okay.
Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting.
Yeah, okay. Get down on that.
Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games. I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, like, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
That's weird. I know I'm clearly supposed to go, but I can't not look around.
I know it's tempting, but there's actually nothing over here. Sorry.
I don't believe you. Don't call me on my shit, narrator. Alright, fine, we'll head to the staircase. Man, that is a giant fucking staircase. That cannot be structurally sound. Alright, let's go. Oh, come on, they're not that steep. Keep going.
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
I appreciate that. Hey, look at that. Man, that's spooky. Plays a pair of floating eyes emitting footstep noises. The game is nothing but giant blocks of text explaining what's happening. A series of lavish manuals come with the game, giving you incorrect instructions on how to play. You are a gate.
A room
Walk
that's
around
warm
talking people down from
and
pursuing their hopes and
vast,
dreams. That's
filled with little